Hello friends, my name is Pradeep Phadke, and in this session I am going to speak to you about a very interesting and important topic: shifting from non-IT to IT sector. I am sure this is a topic very dear to your heart. So first of all, let us understand why so many youngsters are thinking of shifting from non-IT to IT sector. Why so many students are so crazy about joining IT-related engineering courses. So let me briefly try and find out what are the reasons behind it. First and foremost, there is a perception that IT industry offers better remuneration. Also, they feel that the standard of living or comfort level in working in IT industry is better. Many people think that it is the industry that offers maximum opportunities, both in terms of entry-level jobs as well as in terms of growth. So these are some of the reasons why students at the beginning of their career want to get into something which is related to IT and computers. Similarly, there are young executives who may be working in any industry. Some of them want to shift from their existing industry to IT industry. Having said that, let us look at the mechanism of admission into IT related programs. When a student enters 12th standard, he makes a choice whether he wants to pursue something related to engineering and something related to medicine. So depending on that, he selects subjects. Someone who wants to select a subject which leads to engineering then attempts to go for JEE or CET examinations. These examinations are tough and competitive. At the end of the examination, few get admitted to the branch of their choice, including IT engineering. But many of them have to settle down for something which is not IT engineering, but some other branch of engineering, and they do that. Similarly, there are those who are not so lucky and they don't get admission into engineering at all. So they sometimes go into general science, that is BSc program, or they go into BCS kind of a program. We have not even looked at students who don't come to science stream. After the 10th standard, some students decide to opt for BA or BCom. Some of them are also very good students. Going forward, these students, though some of them don't end up into IT related courses, have a very great burning desire that at some stage they would want to get into IT industry. Similarly, many young executives working in different companies also have a feeling that they must get into IT industry for better growth and better prospects. Now, if you look at the reasons that I mentioned earlier, these are actually the perceptions, and reality may not be exactly as they feel. However, most of the decisions work on perceptions and the information available in the market. So let us for a moment assume that IT industry is a goal for many of the students in their career and in education. Once we do that, and we know that some of them are not able to get into IT related education, is there a way by which somebody who has done just a BA or BCom or somebody who has done BSc, is there a chance for him or her to get into IT industry for a job? Yes, of course. There are good opportunities and you need to work on that. Let us understand what are the special requirements of this industry. I am sure many other industries, even outside IT industry, have similar requirements, but specifically talking about IT industry, the industry requires some things which are very important. These include ability to learn. The person concerned must have good learning ability, meaning he or she should be in a position to pick up something new in their career. Then the person must have analytical mind. Analytical and logical mind leads to something which ultimately helps in designing and programming a software. Also, whichever course you are currently doing or you have completed, it could be BA, it could be BCom, it could be in economics, it could be in mathematics, whatever the field, you should be good among the lot there. Your knowledge of the particular domain should be better than the average. And finally, you must have good communication skill. Now, communication skills are actually necessary for any industry. But if you look at IT industry, a large portion of the IT industry deals with foreigners, mainly in the Western world, where English is the prime language of communication. And specifically in certain countries of the Europe, like France and Germany, the local language, French and German, is also equally important. The latest opportunity is in Japan. And I understand that the Japanese are actually looking for large number of employees, provided they are in a position to understand Japanese and speak in Japanese. So having said that, this communication skill or ability to communicate is not in Indian languages, but in foreign languages, particularly in English, French, German, and to a great extent, Japanese. However, no person can learn all four languages, and therefore, depending on personal choice, it could be English or any other foreign language. So, with these skills, you are now ready to get into IT industry from whichever background you are currently. Okay. Let me also tell you that in any industry, there are certain hardcore jobs and certain softer jobs. In IT industry, the hardcore jobs relate to coding and programming. And as most of you will understand, these require some knowledge of programming languages and also some knowledge of hardware. But it doesn't matter if you don't know the programming languages. There are certain jobs in the industry that do not require hardcore programming or language requirement, programming language requirement. For example, jobs as QA engineer, they don't require any programming or coding. Then there's a space called IT business analysis, where you don't read programming languages. There are UX engineers, user experience engineers. These are essentially people who do some work with designing and improvement of the entire presentation that the industry wants to make. Then just outside the industry, there are jobs such as SEO specialist, search engine optimization specialist. Is not a typical IT industry job, but is greatly related to IT industry. And finally, there are certain jobs that are in the space of data analytics. Data analytics is useful for any industry. But just as you work on computer using Microsoft Windows, similar to that, data analytics can be done using certain ready-to-use tools and some knowledge of their business. There are also certain jobs related to IT industry in robotics and automation. Also, there are certain opportunities in what is known as geographic information system. This again is a ready-to-use program. You need to understand how to use it and how to go about it. If you are able to get into any of these jobs, you will set your foot into IT industry. The reason why I am saying you will set your foot in the industry is that you have not suddenly become a full-fledged IT industry professional. But you now have the entry in that industry, and once you get there, it is up to you to improve your skills and then go ahead. The improvements required are in the areas of programming and understanding the structure of industry. And to a great extent, IT industry trains employees in the technologies that they use. So whatever is relevant to their business, they impart training. And therefore, the learning ability is very important. If they are teaching you some new skills, you should be able to assimilate those and then use them. So like this, at a stage you will get into IT industry properly, where at some stage you may also be required to do coding and programming. Other than these jobs, there are certain other jobs in the IT industry which are not related to coding and programming and even software usage at all. And these are related primarily to customer facing jobs. Irrespective of whether you are an engineer selling air conditioners or you are a person selling software utility of a company, the understanding of customer and method of interacting with customer is more important than the software itself. And such jobs, anybody with the skill to sell and interrelate with each other can be done. It is an opportunity to get into IT industry through softer methods. For example, all of you know that when you are a child and you have to learn swimming, you first get into a baby pool. In that baby pool, you start learning how to swim, and at certain stage, you jump into the major pool. It is exactly like that. You should enter IT industry if you are not from IT background and first get into softer jobs where you are not actually doing coding and programming, but once you establish yourself in the industry, then you learn, self-learn, get trained and move into jobs that are full-fledged IT related. There are many institutes, colleges and universities that offer training in different spaces related to IT. Similar to that, we at Opine Group are very proud that we provide the best of training in data analytics and business intelligence areas. These areas can actually lead a non-IT person into IT industry. We have record with us which shows that about 50% of our students come from non-IT background. And we also find that the performance of people with non-IT background is just as good as those students who come with IT background. So you don't need to worry about your background, but you need to focus on how to go about it. And if you do that diligently and with a lot of interest, everyone, irrespective of the background, can actually become a very successful IT professional.